That's true. That's true. That's true. Alhamdulillah. Anyway, let's play this.
I have to fuck her so she obeys me. I don't give a shit about having sex with beautiful women. I fuck them so they listen to me. So I can get what I actually want, which is not them. It's a means to an end.
Andrew Tate uses sex for compliance. What a dork.
Exactly.
He's like a woman.
When I watch a Bond film and I see him basically pimp a bitch, to me that speaks to my heart. I've been there.
I've been James Bond.
Anyone who's followed me long enough knows that I first made my $1 million with a webcam business. I have met a 15-year-old with a good personality and thought she will make me money. I have to fuck this bitch. I don't want to have sex with her. I just need the money.
So he meets a girl with a good personality. A good personality meaning that she's kind of like an obedient girl that is that will do what he says. That is not too headstrong, not too independent. Not very smart. That is not a leader, that is submissive. So he goes, oh, right, okay, all right, okay, oh, okay. This is very, very good material. This is very good material. He calls that the PhD test, the pimping hose degree test, to see if a woman is fit to become his hoe or not. That's what he does, and then he starts using them for work to get rich off of their backs. And this is grooming, by the way. So just a little reminder here for those who are against grooming gangs, for those who pretend to be against rape gangs, against grooming gangs. There are a few things that people need to know about grooming. When we talk about grooming gangs, we are not talking about people that go around necessarily into alleys kidnapping women or kidnapping little girls and chaining them up and putting them in cages and then hiding them in
creepy vans,
beating them and putting them in dark vans or stuff like that. We're not talking about people putting women or little girls into containers and shipping them across borders. Even when we are talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and I know this is lots of people are not aware of this. They just go with, the guy's he was a child rapist, child trafficker, and so on, child groomer. Even in that case, there is no single instance where Jeffrey Epstein actually went around forcibly abducting girls, putting them in cells, putting them in chains or in containers, and not letting them go, having chains on them and abusing them day and night to force them to stay with him and do all kinds of different things. No, we are talking specifically about grooming through manipulation techniques and through coercion, through blackmail, things like that. In the case of, in lots of these cases of trafficking and grooming, what actually happens is that the perpetrator in charge finds vulnerable people, finds vulnerable younger girls or women, and starts manipulating them or tricking them into things. These tend to be people who have a very dark personality and a good way of using their ability to manipulate people psychologically against their victims, to then seek out weak-minded ones and to manipulate them, to turn them into their slaves. This is basically what these guys do. This is what these people do. This is also what Andrew Tate did with his victims. He would go for he would arrange meetings with different women, and then he has a short relationship with these women. In this short relationship, he tests the women to see if this woman that he meets is a strong-willed, smart, intelligent, independent woman. If that is the case, he thinks, okay, this one doesn't pass the test. She has a mind of her own. Doesn't work. So he looks for somebody. He looks for one that is vulnerable, that comes from a vulnerable background, that is that trusts him a lot, that thinks, oh, I love you so much. You're my savior. My life was ruined without you, and now here you are. What would I do without you? He looks for girls that are like that. So he slowly takes advantage of that, makes false promises. With some, he manages to simply manipulate them by different means. With others, he has to add more strict measures, like threatening them or blackmailing them after a point if the manipulations don't entirely work. And all of these things, and he taught these things to his paying members, to his customers, to his audience for the longest time in his war room, to people who paid him lots of money and who said, "Oh, this guy is really making a difference. He's teaching men to be strong men again." Yeah, he's teaching men to be rapists and sex traffickers and manipulators and criminals and scammers. He uses the women that he manipulates to basically slave them, to make them work for him with false promises, puts them online to find desperate people online to then scam those people for their money, while telling people that society has a morality problem or an indulgence problem and so on, and porn problem and all of that. What he does is to program certain women to go online and seek out those men who have, mostly men who have a morality problem, who depend on women online, or who have porn issues, and targets those people and scams them and wants to make money off of them. And he then later brags about this. Think about it for a second. This is kind of similar to somebody who goes out there and says and talks about how terrible hard drugs are, how terrible heroin is, and how it ruins things, how terrible meth is. But at the same time, he then goes back to his work, and he produces heroin and he produces meth and sells it to people.
Dude, you can use a better example. You can use Gus Fring from Breaking Bad, who was always at the DEA parties and stuff as one of their contributors. He's actually funding the DEA, but he's the drug kingpin behind the scenes.
Yeah. This is basically what he did as well throughout the years. And later on, he tried to switch the narrative, of course. Everything that I just described about how he hired these his victims is called the Loverboy method, and is in fact the most common trafficking method in the world.
Here's the difference with Andrew Tate, though. He took the Loverboy method, which that was a method for pimps, right? So he had a method that was used by pimps. He applied it to porn. He used the same methods to establish a porn empire, but it's the exact same method that pimps would use, right?
Yeah.
But then he applied the same method to his male fans. The hey, get in my war. Hey, we're going to be part of something. I'm going to be your best friend. Blah, 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 blah. He's using the exact same method that you would use for a gullible woman, using the Loverboy method. And he sought out gullible teenage boys and used the exact same method on them, right? So in other words, a girl like, "Ooh, he's interested in me. Ooh, I'm going to be with him forever." Use the same method. "Oh, come here. Come, you can be a part of this. You can be a part of my war room," and this and that. Same method. He uses that and then manipulates them into mindless, unquestioning obedience over time. And then it's just grift to grift. We pointed out before, like, he had his method for duping girls. Then he pretends to be a girl and uses that to control men, right? So it wasn't his webcam girls who were communicating and texting these guys. It was Andrew and Tristan pretending to be girls. "Ooh, are you whacking it real hard? Ooh, yeah. Ooh, I bet it's so big. Blah, blah, blah." That's what I'm not joking. That's what they were doing. They were pretending to be girls in chatting with these guys, while guys are getting off thinking of the girl. And they're actually talking to Andrew Tate, right? So he uses the method against girls, then he used the method against guys to get them to send their money. And he says he's got guys mortgaging their houses and stuff like that to send what they think they're sending the money to the girl. They're sending it to him because that's the one they're really in love with. They're really in love with him. Then he uses the exact same method for teenage boys and even gullible, pathetic men around the world. Uses the method there. And so he just keeps using the same method because it works. He just keeps expanding it. But eventually certain people catch on and expose him. And so you kind of have to change your grift from time to time. So at first he's, a kickboxer. That's where he's actually doing something. Then he becomes a pornographer. When he starts getting exposed for being a pornographer, then he changes himself to like a self-help guru who's just trying to help young boys achieve the most they can in life and so on, maximize their potential. Then he starts getting blessed on that. So then he converts to Islam, thinking that will help him. And now check this out, because this is actually brilliant. What he just did is brilliant, because he's been saying, the charges have been dropped. There's no evidence against me. They admit there's no evidence against me. The charges have all been dropped. He's been saying this. It's complete nonsense. This stuff hasn't been dropped. He's about to go to court, right? So he's lying to them, and knowing that his fans are about to go, wait a minute, Andrew's on trial? I thought he was free and there were no charges against him because there was no evidence. So what's he start doing? I'm going to save Great Britain. I'm going to be the next prime minister of Great Britain. But the Matrix doesn't want me to save Great Britain. Therefore, they're going to do a Matrix attack against me to stop me from saving Great Britain. Now, when he goes to court, it'll be, you see, I predicted this. It's a Matrix attack. All the charges against me were dropped, but they came after me anyway.
Here's
because
the thing,
I'm going to save Great Britain and they don't want me to. They're stopping the savior.
You say this is a smart thing and maybe a genius move or something like that, but
for his fans,
it is a smart thing or a genius move in a world that is just so mentally lowly. It's just so incredible. It's so embarrassingly stupid. Imagine being so dumb that you actually get fooled by an actual textbook villain's tactics to take advantage of your political movements and your political feelings and all of that, to get away with all the horrible things that he has done and that he has admitted to in the past. I don't know. I don't want to insult people, but you have to understand at some point how stupid you are. It especially makes me laugh when people who complain about grooming gangs or rape gangs in the UK, or people who complain about certain leftist things and say, "Oh, they're grooming kids," and then you go ahead and actually support a freaking self-proclaimed pimp, a groomer, a rapist, somebody who built his wealth with a webcam business that he coerced his fans into. Have a listen to this.
Is this your PhD program?
PhD program, that's right.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
So yeah, on corporatate.com I have my PhD program, and that is PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm
smartest thing.
Good one, Tate. Oh my goodness. Wait, did everyone hear that? Oh my goodness. Hang on. Hold on. Let me get on the phone. Hey, Dave Chappelle. Yeah, I got a good one for you. You can use it in your next comedy show. You say that PhD instead of doctorate of philosophy actually is a degree.
This is the funniest thing I've ever heard. On your next show. Funniest thing I've ever heard, man.
Clever.
Clever, very clever.
That teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me. Because that's what I did. That was my MO, was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me.
That's literally the lover boy method. That is the perfect description of the lover boy method that Tate's fans never seem to understand is used in trafficking.
And look at this. It's not just that he did this. The course is about teaching this to others.
How I got rich. So that teaches everything I know from start to finish about not only getting girls, not only obtaining them, but retaining them, because that's a completely different game as well. Mm-hmm. So I teach everything I know in there.
So not only raping them, but also re-raping
obtaining them. Girls that are supposed to make him money through manipulation, and then maintaining them. Not only does he do this himself, he also teaches it. He taught this for the longest time. All of this is present as evidence in the courts in Romania as we speak, and nothing has been dropped. And just for those who keep going on saying, "It has been dropped, man. Are you sleeping? It's been dropped.
What are you smoking? There's no evidence. Andrew Tate has said the case file is completely empty."
Here is just one of those instances of an article debunking this. Fact check: Andrew Tate human trafficking case has not been dismissed. This was already in November, and since then also nothing changed. And it will very briefly give you the facts and explain to you that all of these propagandists like Suleiman Ahmed, Lupus, and the others claim that the case has been dismissed, but it actually hasn't been dismissed at all.
Your name is Lupus.
All that happened is that the file was sent back for irregularities to revise and to for formally for the prosecution to take it back or to adjust it and then to send it again for trial. That's what happened, because they had a problem with some of the evidence which they considered inadmissible for different reasons. That doesn't mean that there is a lack of evidence. That means some of the evidence in there was considered inadmissible as is, so it has to be revised to then be sent to the court again. But as soon as that came out, Andrew Tate went out there and started claiming that the case has been dismissed. It hasn't been dismissed. The worst thing is that his lawyer also came out and started claiming that it has been dismissed. And I mean, in the U.S., if you are defending somebody who is awaiting trial and you make false claims like this about the court case, this will be used against you in a brutal way once the trial starts. So I really wonder what this will look like.
He's screwed. The stuff he's doing, running his mouth this entire. Normally, your lawyer tells you shut your freaking mouth, because that's why police are required to tell you anything you say can and will be used against you in court. They have to warn you
because they know that he's going to go to prison no matter what. So they just let him talk now, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, keep in mind, at the end of the day, it's still your choice. Your lawyer can say, "Hey, you need to shut up." You don't have to listen to your lawyer's advice and so on. What he's doing is very good for keeping his followers as stupid as possible. It's terrible for going to court, because everything he's saying, when he says all the charges have been dropped against me, when he's on the stand, all of this, everything he said is going to get brought back up. Hey, remember when the charges weren't dropped against you at all, but you said they were charged? They will use this to attack his credibility. That's not, they could have this guy on the stand for 6 months going through his posts and his videos to completely destroy any shred of credibility he would have for anything he says. And by the end of it, the jury would be like, okay, under no circumstances would we believe anything this guy's telling us about his pure intentions and his great motives for rescuing young boys. Just
imagine this one here. Listen to this part. You know, here he's talking about what happens if your bitch starts coming at you, and then he goes into another part which is about violence during sex. Now imagine what the court will say when the case of him being violent toward his sexual partners comes up and he denies things, and then they play this video here.
You know what they didn't teach you in self-defense? Here's a little move. When I grab you by your neck and you start annoying me trying to resist, and then I grab you by your neck again. Then what you're doing, your face is collapsed and your cheekbone's broken. You ain't gonna do cry. I guarantee I changed the way you look at sex forever. You're gonna be crying. I won't cry. I bet you cried. I bet you cry.
Milk Bar, did you do these beeps? Because if so, they are way too loud.
You're saying I wouldn't cry. You're challenging me to a fight. You're saying I can't hurt you. You're out of your mind? I don't even you. Forget the sex part. That's a distraction. Stay in my pants. I'll just start beating at you. How about that? We walk in the bedroom. I start kicking your no sex. No sex involved. But you cry then. Perfected this.
So, imagine how pathetic you have to be to sit there and talk about how you could totally beat the shit out of this girl.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like, hey, P. If you wanted to, could you beat up your wife? I'm pretty sure I could beat the crap out of my wife if I wanted to. Why the hell would that? Why would I want to? Two, why would that be something to brag about? Hey guys, did you all know that if I want to beat the crap out of a woman, I can? Ha ha! Does that impress you? Does that impress you that I could beat up a woman and smash her face in? Huh? I can do it. That
This is
shows what a
what's-
top G I
this
am.
is what's
'cause I can
amazing
beat the
about
crap
this.
out of a woman. Ha ha.
This guy is a professional
Idiot.
fighter.
Yeah,
and
he
sitting there.
he was an actual kickboxing champion. And, hey, did you know that in addition to me being able to kick the crap out of other kickboxers, that I could also use those skills to beat the crap out of a woman in the bedroom and make her not talk back to me? Yeah, that's right. These are among the skills. So if you want to be a top G, you got to go to kickboxing school and learn how to beat up a little girl. That will impress her.
If you look up to this guy, I'm just wondering if you got kicked in the head like this as well. I don't know.
Perfected this in pimp school. When I got my PhD, we had to practice if a girl comes at you, you cheater, you cheating. It's bang out the machete, boom in her face, and then grip her up by the neck. Like, shut her panties get wet. Machete's on the floor, her panties are all wet. You go her. That's how it goes. Slap, slap, grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex. These are the basic moves of pimp.
And he was teaching this to teenage boys, and then when people complained because teenage boys were going and saying this stuff at school, then it was I'm just empowering them to get Bugattis. That's why people are angry about
Matrix. The Matrix is angry because their boys are encouraged by me telling them to go to the gym. It's just ridiculous, man. It's just ridiculous.